24th of January 1994, Daniel Correa Freitas was born in Juiz de Fora, Brazil. He showed an interest in football from an early age, and like many young boys in Brazil, he dreamed of becoming a professional football player. He began his career at the age of 11 playing for Cruzeiro, where he was awarded the Brazilian Youth Champion in the junior category, and even earning a champion in 3 further categories. In 2007, at the age of 14, he joined Cruzeiro's youth setup, a club infamous for producing some of the country's top football players. After being released in 2013, he moved to Botafogo, where he made his debut on the 20th of October 2013. In September of 2014, Daniel had suffered a knee injury which ended his season prematurely, hindering his short career. Daniel didn't let this injury stop him from playing though, and on the 27th of December 2014, despite being injured, he signed a 3-year contract with Sao Paulo. From that point on, Daniel's professional career would take off, and he began to gain fame, with some even comparing him to Lionel Messi. He subsequently struggled with further injuries, which limited his appearances for the club, but he was subsequently loaned to several other teams. On October the 26th, 2018, Daniel, now 24 years old, travelled to the city of Curitiba after being invited by 38-year-old businessman Edison Brits Jr. and his wife Cristiana to celebrate their daughter Alana's 18th birthday. Daniel had spent the evening enjoying the celebrations at the Shed Bar and nightclub with his love interest Alana. The pair had met through social networking sites, and according to some sources, at the time of their meeting, Alana had been between 15 and 16 years old, whilst Daniel had been 21 or 22. From this point on, Daniel had begun to invite Alana to parties. Daniel had wanted a relationship with Alana, but she had just broken up with her boyfriend and didn't want to get involved in anyone. According to Alana, Daniel wasn't too disheartened, and shortly after her 17th birthday in October 2017, Daniel had moved away to another city, with the pair only meeting again the following year at her 18th birthday party. From security cameras inside the Shed nightclub that night, Daniel could be seen at the party, which had gone on until 4:30 am. Despite the CCTV eventually capturing all of Alana's guests leaving, the party was not yet over, and one of Alana's friends suggested that the party continue on at Alana's house. The party at her home did go ahead, with some of the guests from the nightclub, one of these attendees being none other than Daniel Correa. Once at Alana's residence, Daniel began to send audios and photographs to a friend over WhatsApp. In one audio, Daniel could be heard telling the friend that he was drunk and didn't know where he was.
Moleque, eu juro pra você que eu não tô muito bêbado, viado. É que a situação é desesperadora. Eu não sei como é essa casa que eu vim parar aqui, mas parece que a casa tem, sei lá, uma casa tem uma coroa dormindo, outra casa tem uma novinha dormindo, o namorado da novinha eu não sei onde tá, o marido da coroa eu não sei onde tá. Moleque, eu não sei o que eu faço, moleque, me ajuda.
He went on to tell the friend about women who were asleep in the residence. The next messages sent by Daniel to his friend showed him in bed next to a sleeping woman. This lady, however, would later be identified as Cristiana Brits, Alana's mother. Further messages from Daniel to the friend indicated that he had been intimate with Cristiana. In a subsequent message, he took things further, stating, "I'm going to devour the birthday girl's mum, and the daddy's here." He followed it up with another message 10 minutes later, which simply read, "I ate her." What Daniel's friend didn't know at the time was that these would be the last messages he would ever receive from Daniel. A few hours later, at around 11 am in the Brazilian city of São José dos Pinhais, a resident was out walking in a rural area when they found the bloodied and brutalised remains of an unknown man laying lifeless in a bush. When police arrived to the scene, they discovered that his throat had been slit to the point of almost decapitating him, and his genitals had been cut off. The man could not immediately be identified, and the only clue as to who the body belonged to was a shed bar bracelet on the victim's arm. Full identification of the body only came later that night, when a cousin of the deceased man was able to take a look and confirm that it was none other than Daniel Correa. A forensic report concluded that Daniel may have still been alive when his genitals were removed with a sharp knife, before his murderer threw them up a tree, where they were eventually recovered. Soon after identification, the press office issued a statement on social media regarding the death of the popular football player in an attempt to capture those responsible for his murder. They detailed that the killer had used a knife. Daniel had also been found with 1.34 grams of alcohol per litre in his blood, but no drugs were present in his system. Sao Paulo Football Club, the team that Daniel had been contracted to at the time of his death, vowed to pay Daniel's fees to his family until the end of his contract. The club also would go on to help with the transferal of Daniel's body and the costs of burying him. Daniel's memorial was later held at the gymnasium where he used to play football as a child, before being buried at the Nossa Senhora Cemetery in Conselheiro, Lafayette. Daniel's case quickly gained national media attention, and the hunt was on to find his murderer. Before the body had been found and identified, Daniel's mother, Eliana Correa, had been very worried about her son, as she hadn't heard from him and was unable to contact him, something which was very unusual due to their closeness. Eliana heard that Daniel had been seen at Alana's birthday party, so contacted Alana directly. In a series of text messages, Alana told Daniel's mother that Daniel had left her home at around 8 AM, and this is the last time she had heard from him. He just said goodbye, got up and left, she wrote in one message. When news of Daniel's murder eventually came from the press, Edison Brits, Alana's father, contacted Eliana to offer his condolences. Edison also called the last friend that Daniel had spoken to and sent photographs to the night he died. This friend was Lucas Muna, and in this phone call, Edison had explained that Daniel had left the family home where the party was being held alone.
Cara, a gente também não sabe o que aconteceu, só que ele foi embora. Ele saiu lá aqui pra frente, foi embora, a gente não viu mais nada.
E que horas ele saiu daí?
Era 8 e pouco.
E ele foi com quem?
Eu não sei, ele foi sozinho, ele tava no telefone. A gente tava aqui pra trás. O terreno tem 40 metros, o portão tava aberto porque havia mais gente. Sim. Aí ele não sabe como que ele foi. E a gente quer ajudar de qualquer forma. O que a gente pode fazer? Que a gente pode dar depoimento, a gente pode ir na delegacia, a gente quer ajudar e a gente também tá desesperado, cara.
Later on, police discovered that the calls made by Edison offering help to Daniel's family and friends had come from the mobile of a man who had been murdered in 2016. Alarm bells soon began to ring. At first, it was popular belief that Daniel may have been murdered as a result of a robbery gone wrong. However, the graphic injuries suffered by Daniel indicated that whoever had killed him were very angry and wanted to cause him much pain and suffering. On October the 31st of 2018, a witness came forward with a story that would bring together pieces of the puzzle. The witness said that on the night of the party, Daniel had been caught by Edison Brits in one room of the home, in a bed sleeping next to his wife, Christiana. According to the witness, Daniel had been beaten by Edison and 3 other men before being murdered. The witness said that he didn't know what had gone on in the room between Daniel and Christiana, but with this new information, the Brits soon became the prime suspects in Daniel's murder. As police began looking into the Brits family, it became apparent that Edison and Christiana liked to indulge in the finer things in life, and also enjoyed showing off their expensive lifestyle on social media, with Edison once posting images of his daughter's 13th birthday party, to which he is said to have spent thousands of pounds. Christiana, Edison and Alana's Instagram and Facebook pages were filled with photographs depicting them drinking excessively and partying often, with some images going as far back as to when Alana was a young teenager, partying with her parents. Edison was also friends with the local police and took advantage of the fact that he had a registered firearm, often shooting in the air of his back garden for fun. In January of 2018, police had been called to the family home after a neighbour had heard shooting coming from inside the house. When police arrived, Christiana said that they had had a disagreement, but no shots had been fired. Edison admitted that he owned a gun, but after showing the police his licence, they left. Arrest warrants were soon issued for Edison, Christiana and Alana, and they were taken into custody. As police began to investigate further, they discovered that on October the 29th, 2018, Edison and Christiana met with 3 more people in a mall's food court. This meeting had been set up through a WhatsApp message and had been arranged by Edison in order for the group to set up an alibi. Upon questioning, it didn't take long before police got exactly what they wanted. Claiming to have acted in a moment of madness upon hearing his wife's anguished screams from inside the bedroom, Edison began to tell of what had happened on Daniel's last night alive.
O que eu fiz foi o que qualquer homem faria, porque aquela mulher que estava ali não era minha esposa. Para mim, eram todas as mulheres do Brasil e naquele momento era minha esposa, a Cris, a mulher em quem eu sou casado há 20 anos, a mulher que eu dediquei toda a minha vida, que sempre me amou e me respeitou. A minha esposa nunca teve nada com o Daniel, muito menos a minha filha. E se eu fiz o que eu fiz, eu quero que cada um que está assistindo aqui pense e repense o que você faria para manter a integridade moral da sua família. E evitei que a minha esposa fosse estuprada por esse monstro canalha.
In a televised interview with a Brazilian television station, he described smashing down the bedroom door to find the soccer star lying on top of his wife. She was screaming and begging for help, he said. I hit him a lot, and took him out of the house. I don't know if he was awake or unconscious, or if he just had his eyes closed. I wasn't thinking of anything. I had a knife in the car, which was with the tools in the trunk. I didn't know what I was going to do with that. I was desperate, beside myself with rage. I looked in the trunk and saw what was there. Adding that he had put the football star's body in the trunk of the car, Daniel was driven 12 miles away to a wooded area, where Edison then carried out the brutal killing. His version of events were apparently backed up by both Alana, who told police she too heard screaming from inside her mother's bedroom, and Christiana herself, who in a statement to detectives claimed she had awoken to find the player with his genitals exposed and rubbing himself against her before her husband had stabbed him. The 3 other men who participated in Daniel's murder were 19-year-old Eduardo Henrique da Silva, who was captured in the state of Parana, whilst the other 2 suspects, 19-year-old Igor King and 18-year-old David William da Silva, turned themselves in a day later. The 3 men had also attended Alana's birthday party. On November the 2nd, a forensics team went to the Brits' residence where they found traces of blood around the home. There were blood stains in the garage as well as in the Brits' car, and signs that attempts may have been made to clean up the evidence. Investigators found traces of blood splattered on the walls and floor of the couple's bedroom, which allegedly suggests that Daniel was beaten while still in the master bedroom. Later, a girl named Ludmila Garrido came forward to testify at the request of the Brits. She claimed that in 2012, she too had been harassed by Daniel Correa at a party in Belize. She said that Daniel had asked her to stay with him, but she refused as she had a boyfriend. She said that Daniel began by pulling her by the arm and forcefully kissing her. She claimed to have not filed a complaint as she was very young and didn't want her boyfriend to find out. Upon hearing this, Daniel's family were outraged by the claims that threatened to tarnish his image, claiming that this was a plan to get a lenient sentence for the Brits and to justify the killing of Daniel. The trio that had helped Edison commit the murder were eventually charged with aggravated homicide. They were imprisoned for a while, but their arrest was eventually revoked and they were released in May of 2021. Alana Britz was released in August of 2019 after a decision by the court. Today, she has a very active social media presence and appears to lead a normal life, where she works as an influencer, has many fans, and is paid by companies to sponsor their products. She also makes regular posts in honour of her father. Alana also gave a televised interview justifying her father's actions and placing the blame of Daniel's death on Daniel himself.
O Daniel, meu pai, mas quem procurou tudo isso foi o próprio Daniel. A partir do momento que ele entrou naquele quarto, ele se
Christiana Britz faced charges including qualified homicide, procedural fraud, corruption of a minor, and coercion. She was released from custody in exchange for precautionary measures and the use of an electronic ankle tag in September of 2019. In an interview with SBT, Christiana claimed that she was the victim that night, stating, "I want to make it very clear that I didn't attack, I didn't hit, I didn't kill Daniel. I didn't participate in anything. I was Daniel's victim." She then went on to add, "My life was destroyed that day too. My life, in a way, ended that day. I was arrested. I lost practically everything. I lost my dignity, my honour. I was raped as a woman. My family was destroyed." Edison Britz was charged with aggravated homicide amongst other charges. To this day, he remains in prison awaiting trial, despite his defence launching multiple appeals to put him under house arrest. He has also been ordered to pay monthly instalments of 5,000 Brazilian reals, approximately £932, to Daniel's daughter Alice, who was 2 years old at the time of her father's murder. Alice will receive these support payments until she is 25 years old.